Welcome, family. How's every single one of you tonight? And the weekend is here, so we're gonna try always to give you like different things that like the usual reviews that we do from the shows. So this week we have an interview. We have the pleasure and the honor of have not only like beautiful and also great athlete. I have Katrin Stutz from Switzerland, all the way live here with Robert. Katrin, how you doing? Thank you for being in the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to talk to you on this Saturday. And many greetings from Switzerland, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you. Katrin she's a wrestler, so she's gonna be talking about like her career, her experiences in this business. So we're gonna find out a little bit about her, whether she like, whether she doesn't like. So be with us, family. Before we start, thank you so very much for all the subscriptions, comments, love that you give us in the social media world. We really appreciate it. And also, don't forget to check their content. NXT UK, the Hunt beats Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. This was a pretty excellent match. We're going to be talking about with Katrin about NXT UK because our dream is to see her debuting right there, pretty soon. So, this follow the show is a really great WWE product. I will say is the best show in the WWE. So just check that out. Also, don't forget, family, Smackdown review. The big dog, the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. He beat up Kevin Owens. He beat up Jey Uso. He loves to beat up everybody. Everybody loves the heel turn. So they're going to have a match at TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs for the Universal Championship. That match was set up last Friday. And don't forget to check that video out. So now let's focus on you, Katrin. Our beautiful guest. So tell me let's go from the beginning. How did you get exposed to professional wrestling?
Well, it was actually way back, I think when I was like 15. I used to watch The Bachelor with my younger sister. And before that, there used to be Raw that was on. So I only remember like glimpses of it, like having seen John Cena, Rey Mysterio, The Undertaker. I think I also remember AJ, but I'm not sure if I'm misremembering. But so that was like the first part of me getting exposed to wrestling, and then it kind of disappeared from my orbit. And about 5 years ago, I read a newspaper article, about Cesaro being in WWE and being amazingly successful. He's, of course, also Swiss.
Yes.
And at that time, I was working in Basel, which is also in Switzerland, and I was doing home workouts. So I was living in this tiny shoebox of an apartment doing my workout. And then this one weekend, I just got back into wrestling and fell in love with it again. And then I would do, my squats, my push-ups, and all of that. And meanwhile, be watching wrestling. And that just is kind of how I fell in love with it. And of course, the Women's Revolution, when it happened, was also something, I think it was kind of like along the same lines about the time.
Yeah, around 2012, 2013, yes, with AJ Lee, yes.
When Charlotte and Sasha and Bayley came up, and the women started being portrayed as like these athlete warriors that like always kept me motivated. And so that's how I started watching the product, and then I started listening to podcasts because I didn't know anyone like that was also watching it. And like when you love something so much, you just want to share with other people. So I started getting into like these German podcasts and forums and stuff. I know it's super nerdy.
No, not at all.
And then we also had like this get together from these like podcast listeners, and so I made a lot of friends in like that were from Austria, but mostly from Germany also. And we would also go to some shows in Germany. So WXW, we used to go to Carat and 16 Karat Gold, which is the biggest European wrestling tournament, and to World Tag League. And it was just kind of like this community that grew. And so that's how I became a wrestling fan.
Oh, that's amazing, That's great, yeah. So, like, you became a fan, but, like, when did you make that decision? It's like, hey, I have, like, that bug, like, I want to be a wrestler because I had that, but, I will get beat up every single time. So I was like, no, you know what? Let me just talk about it rather than just be a fan.
Yeah, it was a bit of a process. Like, when I was living in Basel, I did check, like, where there was a wrestling school in Switzerland. I was working at a marketing job at the time, and it was like 2.5 hours one way to get to the school, and I just didn't see how it could be done. And so when I started to look for a new job, I looked at different cities, but I ended up in Zurich. and that's where the school is. Or anyways, it's close by, still like an hour, but it's totally manageable. And so then I got here, and I was here I think like only 1 or 2 months, and my best friend called me. She's like, Katrin, you've been working out so much, you love wrestling so much, you've told me that there's a school, you really, really, really need to go. Like, okay, I'm going. And so I went the first time, and it just clicked. Like, I was like, yes. I just was finally, because before I was doing weightlifting, and I was just doing it kind of to stay in shape, but not because I overly loved it. But then everything made sense, because now I've been getting stronger and stronger, so that I can carry my opponent in the ring and be safe, and keep myself safe. And it's just been, really great time learning how to wrestle. So overall, I've been like practicing wrestling for about 8 months. I had a knee injury that took me out for 9 months, which was a tough one, but I soldiered through. And so now it's been a bit on and off because of the pandemic. But I always say, where there's a will, there's a way. And so I've been training in Switzerland in my school. I've traveled to Germany, to WXW Academy, because it's also seen as one of the best schools in Europe, or even in the whole world. Just to see like where I'm at, where I want to go, what needs to happen for me to progress. And then recently, I was on vacation in Mexico, and also trained there with some really great coaches.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that, like, you just, you're a person that, like, when decides to do something, you go for it. It doesn't matter the time, it doesn't matter the risk. You just go for it, and that took you to go to train in Mexico.
Yes, it's just my nature that once I decide I want something, I just go for it, and everything else is kind of a lesser priority. It used to be that work was this for me, that I would just burn up and really see myself and my life fulfilled in work, and it's kind of shifted towards my love for wrestling. And so, I train 6 times a week. When I'm not training, I'm watching shows. I also participated the last 2 weeks in Knuckle Rock. So this is the UK wrestling school. They do online classes where we do tape studies. So I'm just really trying to absorb everything to get to the next level and get a little bit better every day.
Yes, you're trying to like receive a lot of influences. So that's really great. Yeah, exactly. Especially there is a pandemic, unfortunately, in the world, but it's really great that like you're seeing all these types of wrestling, these styles. So like, for example, like tell me, like in Mexico, you go there. Of course, lucha libre is big. We're just huge. We know you. We know the guys. We know everybody. We love here. Paul, I want to say hi to my co-host. Like, he loves, we love Andrade, we love Angel Garza, Rey Mysterio, all the big ones, and of course, the Santos. So how did that influence you? To be able to be exposed to like Mexico and a culture that pretty much wrestling, lucha libre is a culture there. It's not just a sport; it's a culture.
Yeah, for me it was overall. I mean, at first I was just following WWE, then I started following AEW. And then through my German friends, I started being exposed a little to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And whilst I speak Spanish, I wasn't as much involved in the whole lucha libre. And when I went to 16 Karat Gold, I saw Bandido and Black Taurus there, and I talked to them, and we just got along very good. And they were like, "Yeah, you should totally come check it out in Mexico." I was like, "Yeah, okay, one of those days for sure."
Sure.
And it just seemed one of those far dreams, but I've got a really good friend that lives there, and then just things lined up that I was going to go see her and train there as well, and it really just kind of blew my mind and was really like wrestling paradise to me, honestly. It was, I loved it so much, and like, I was only there for a week, and I only trained 4 days because we also went to the beach, because it was also a holiday. But it felt like I lived there for 3 weeks because of how much I experienced. I just tried to take everything in, because wrestling there is really like soccer, and in the rest of the world somehow, or maybe like American football would be for the US. Like, it's really a religion, and you don't need to explain to anybody like what it is that you do or what it is that you're passionate about, because everybody knows the sport already. Whereas in Europe, could probably spend 10 minutes explaining to someone what wrestling is, and they might still not quite click with what's really going on there and while we're in the ring. And so that was really amazing. Yeah, I had a wonderful time. And as for the style that you asked, well, I was in Germany actually in October. And for me, I really like The Miz actually as a wrestler because he's very methodical. He takes care of his body so that he can work very long. He's very good on the mic, and he has a great character. So that's the person that I kind of wanted to emulate in my style. But then I was in Germany, and some guys that I was training with were doing the Hurricane Rana, and I was standing on the sideline, and he was like, yeah, okay, you guys do that. Because
no, thanks.
Wrestling, like, you guys do that, and they're like, okay, Katrin, now you go try. And I was like, okay. But then I tried it, and it worked out, and I was like, huh. Like, I never in my dreams imagined myself doing that or doing a head scissors. And I did. And so I was like, okay, so now you've just suddenly reached this other level that you kind of didn't know you could get to, and now you have like all these other options open where you're like, could I do it from like a rope, or could I do it this way or this way? So you just kind of, it always keeps you going, gets you like...
You keep adding, right? You keep adding. You're just like, hey, I reached to this level. How about if I do this? You know, like always Mick Foley likes to say, like, you know, the crazy stuff that he did. He'll be like, but imagine the pop. Imagine the pop. Like, it's like, no, it's crazy. Don't do it. But imagine the pop. So that's how you go, right?
That's how you, like, when you're watching TV, you're like, why are they doing that? And then you can, now I can, like, I understand that you're always just, like, trying to one-up yourself and trying new things. And so that's already how I got in touch with the Lucha Libre style for a bit. And then I asked my coach in Germany, like, if he knew somebody in Mexico, because I knew that he had been there, that he could recommend to me. So I recommended Skynet to me as a coach, and I just wrote him, like, because I decided to go to Mexico like 4 days before I went, because it's a pandemic and you can't plan. So you just, as we said before, once I want something, then it's just okay.
You go for it, yes, yeah. Right here, no limits, no Kid Lee. The limited one is Katrin Studs, not Kid Lee, right there.
And then he was as nice as to take some time to teach me in private lessons. I also joined some group lessons and kind of started finding out more about the style. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like for example, I know that like in Mexico you could do the holds from the left, and then in WWE the American style is from the right. I don't know the Rio said that, so probably you had to adjust that. I don't know what the European style is, but that's one of the differences, for example, that I know.
That's one of the main differences that I knew about, but then still when you get there, you just have to click, like when you're doing a side headlock, we was like this, and then you have to adjust. And some of the other students, like, they saw me do other things, and then they're like confused why I can't get the basics right in their mind, or left, and then one of the coaches explained to them, like, yeah, it's because it's different in Europe, and she needs to like also like get up. And also we always get up on the right side, and they would just roll back or get up on the left side. But overall, I think one of the key differences would be that most of the matches are 2 out of 3 falls, right?
Yeah. It's something that like we had also a luchador, and he said the same thing. Is that it's 2 out of 3 falls? So like, how did you prepare for that though? It's like, you know, it's a lot of training, it's a lot of like action, intensity. So how did you prepare for that?
For my training in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So already once I finished or got over with my knee injury, I took a coach that he's a former wrestler in Germany, and he's been doing my nutrition and my workouts, because I know about some other things, but I don't know about those things, so I need to find the best people to possibly support me with that. And so he's been getting me in shape, he's been writing programs. I've been doing the work, right? And then before I went there, I watched one Aniversario show, so that's of CMLL, and one Triple Mania of AAA, so like the 2 biggest companies in Mexico. Their WrestleMania is what I watched to kind of get an overview of how the style might work. Yes.
Very, very good. Like, very methodical. Like, you're very thoughtful. You know where you're gonna go, and you kind of study some tapes. That way, you're not completely blank when things happen to you. Absolutely amazing. So, now that like you're absorbing all these styles, that you're absorbing all this information. So, like, how do you are trying to portray your own character? Have you decided yet? Do you want to be a face? Do you love to be heel? Because see, the Miz is a heel. When he plays the face, he's absolutely terrible. But Miz, when you give me a mic and when my mouth goes, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes down. Yeah, absolutely great. The Miz is great, being heel, but face, nobody believes a single thing that he's doing. So how about you? What are you, leaning towards to? You like to be a baby face or like heel?
So whilst I was injured, I also went to practice to study, but I also kept in mind, like, what can I do in the meantime? And so I was actually a drama student in high school, and I used to do a lot of singing. So the character part is very interesting to me. And I personally prefer heels. I think heels have more fun.
Yes, that's what we always say, yes.
So I've been working on a character, and she's a successful business manager that cares a lot about money. And she's a badass. She also kicks ass. And she's also a heel. So that's what I've been working on. I've been workshopping the name for a bit. I've got some gear made. I know that in the end, like by the time I debut, it might be something different, but that's what I've been working on. I've been cutting promos and sending them to my coaches in order to improve on that. So I've been cutting promos in German, English, and Spanish. And just to practice and get ahead with that. And I think it's already on quite a good it's on a good level, I've been told, and I want to continue portraying that.
I think, like the promo that you sent me was pretty good. I saw the intensity. I see like how slowly you talk. That's really important. If you remember how Chris Jericho did that when 08 when he came back as a heel, that was the main thing. It's like how slow he talk, and when he will say things, you'll go for like really like loud to like really like slow, and like nobody could even hear a little bit. But that's how you are heel. I like that. I think you have a great future on that. How do you put like a match together? Like the psychology of the wrestler. Well, how are you learning about that? How are we going to do this? Are we going to do that? How is that like? How are you learning that?
Mm-hmm. So I've been taking classes about the tape study, so that helps. We've learned about the different stages of wrestling at my school, but I also know it's different for some of the countries. So it's more extensive, I think, the one that we have in Europe with the stages, whereas in Mexican or Lucha Libre, there's usually 4 stages from what I understand. And obviously also because it's 2 out of 3 falls, there will be probably more holds involved. Whereas I would say submission is not one of the typical finishes that we have in American or European wrestling, I would say. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think that's mostly like, for example, when we watch NXT UK, like the match is always longer. They tend to be like more intense. You tell the whole story. American, because WWE is a certain type of product, is like, well, it kind of sucks. Yeah, nobody's paying attention. Let's go home, finish. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. But I feel that like, yeah, and also like the Lucha Libre differs on that a lot because it's more about the holes, about like every single thing that you do has more meaning. Towards the end of the match. So yeah, I agree with you on that. Yes. So tell me a little bit about like the differences, European style and like Lucha Libre. Like which one do you like better, or like if you or like you just combine both for your own style?
I think I'm still quite at the beginning because I've had my training interrupted a few times. So I think it will probably some merging of both things. And for me, it's just about like getting secure and getting the repetitions in for everything. And then I think I will have the tools to create like what in-ring character that I'm going to be. Because for now, I've been obviously working on the basics, on chain wrestling, on some of the finishers that I like that are already there from famous people or from former superstars. And so yeah, but I think it will take some time for me to figure out the in-ring Personality, I kind of know, as I mentioned, but for the other part, for the technique, I think it still might be a bit
To
early.
create, yeah, to come out with your own moves, and it all come out to you because I know that like you have the passion. So I know that like little by little you're gonna keep adding things, and especially if you can combine a little bit of the huracananas, if you can combine a lot of more like luchas libre stuff, it'll just make you like amazing.
It will also have to work with a heel persona. So
Yes.
because in I don't know if Western is the right denomination or the right word, but often like I'm not sure if we've seen much lucha heels other than Santos now in WWE, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Rio, from what I recall, he wasn't like as much of a
No. No. He never.
opponent, right?
Yeah, he never did like a lot of yeah. He like his type of lucha libre was very different than Rey Mysterio, for example. The main thing like he will do is like the super kick, or he will do like the kick that on the turnbuckle. He'll do that, and then the Chrome Czar breaker. That was just like kind of like his lucha libre. When he fought with the mask on in Mexico, it will be more like ropes. It will be more hurricanranas, superplex, all of that. So like Katrin, tell me about companies right now. The current product in professional wrestling, you will say that there's a lot of avenues that you can go. You go NXT UK, you have AEW, you have Impact. All of them actually present women as athletes now, so which is absolutely amazing. We go from the days of like like the brands and pennies, all of that, and pretty much diminish the value of a woman. But now every single company has so many like great exponents like NXT UK, Kaylee Ray, Piper Niven. They have even Eva Valkyrie. Like which company do you enjoy the most? In the women's division.
I mean, my favorite wrestler is Charlotte Flair, so I'm never not gonna pick wherever she's at. So since she was working NXT and the main roster, probably would still be WWE. I must admit that on my list of viewing, I still want to watch Stardom. I've been told great things about them, but I've at this point not managed to carve out the time. And there's a lot of interesting female characters. I'm all about the empowerment and getting as many matches on the card with female participation.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great. Like, and let's just say current is on its own. Which company do you like the most? AEW. Which one do you like to watch the most?
So I follow what's happening in the shows I follow WWE, I follow AEW, and then somewhat Impact, RH, and NXT UK as well. So, but I must admit that during the pandemic time, it's a bit tricky to follow because of, the atmosphere is just different, right?
Yes.
So I think I'm holding out hope for when this all get through, that then I will have a better answer for you. Because for now, I'm just hanging on to all the wrestling that I can see, and not gonna pick a favorite kid. Nope.
Not yet. Okay, well, so that also tells us that you're going to visit us more often. This is not the only time that we'll see you, so you're already committed. You're going to be back with us. So so let's talk about a little bit more about pandemic. How you live this pandemic in Europe? How does it feel? How is Switzerland? How is your country like dealing with this?
So it began at the beginning of March, and then I still traveled to Germany to watch this wrestling festival with 1,600 people. So that was Sunday. And then on Monday, they decided that for that area, all the public events were shut down. So we got super lucky that this event even happened. And then I stayed in Germany for the end of the week. And then it was uncertain if I could even go back to my country because everything was closing down. But I did. And then I've just been working from home office mostly. Sometimes the gym was closed, so I have some weights over here and some bands because still need to be in shape, still want to be in shape. And but now the gym's open and just wearing masks in public. And right now my wrestling school is closed due to the pandemic. It was also closed earlier in the year. Germany's on lockdown. So
you feel that it's getting better, right? Because over here, there's still more breakouts, so the cases are going up. and it just feels that we're not going to be able to enjoy the wrestling in the near time soon, and that's kind of like a problem because, like you said, shows with no crowd is not enjoyable as much as like the crowd. Wrestlers feed off the crowd, and the crowd feeds off the wrestlers. So
we always have to hand in our vacation schedule for the coming year, and I always put in like the first week of April because I want to go to WrestleMania, and I've already been there twice. And I'd also put in the first week of January for maybe going to Wrestle Kingdom. But like I recently had to revisit it, and then I was like, yeah.
Probably not, right?
I don't need them like at that time of the year this year yet. But yeah, I will try to accumulate the vacation and head back to Mexico to train some more.
Or maybe like to go to like an event there, because I think Triple Mania is going to happen, but it's going to be with no crowd.
Yeah,
that I do know. And
we came out with it like 1 week ago or so is when they communicated that it'll happen on the 12th of December, I believe.
Yes,
and we'll be without an audience.
Yeah, and also it's going to be Kenny Omega, the brand new AEW champion, going against the Laredo Kid. So there you go, family. We give you the plug for that. We will not be doing the review, but it's all good. So like now, tell me like
the female addition to that card, maybe.
Oh, you could be. I would love that you will be right there. Like
I think maybe a bit premature, but definitely one of the dreams.
Yeah, well, and now that we're talking about that, like you mentioned WrestleMania, you mentioned that you were a fan. How is that experience for you? You get there to America. You were in New Orleans, from my understanding. So you're there in WrestleMania.
To Orlando and to New Orleans.
Yeah, so like, how is that like the feeling of WrestleMania for you? You just get there and everybody just loves wrestling. You just see waves of people and everybody just talks about it and love it. Like, how is that feel for you coming from another country that is not as popular as it is here?
Yeah, I mean, wrestling in Switzerland for like the biggest shows that we have here, there would be like 100, 150 people, and the shows might happen every 2 or 3 months, right? So then traveling to the US, which is quite the trip, then getting there and you get in like out of the airport and you have all these banners with all the stars that you've seen on TV and the sports that you love the most. It's just, you're like,
It's such a good feeling, right?
Yeah, it's been lovely. Orlando was nice. I went with some friends, and New Orleans I even loved more because it was like it has the city center where everybody was gathering, and you could see like all the people with their wrestling shirts and out and proud and loud and happy. And also I loved the food in New Orleans. That was stunning. I used to watch Top Chef. Do you know this show?
Yeah, yep, Top Chef, yeah.
So I had seen the season that was in New Orleans. And so I also went to some of the restaurants of the guys that are, in this case, the women that competed there. So I went to Nina Compton's restaurant. It's like, yeah, I'd never imagined that like I would go to this chef's restaurant who I'd seen on TV. And especially for the NXT shows, the atmosphere was really great, is what I remember. Like the ladder match in New Orleans was
mind-blowing, right? Because you did the whole trip. That you did like NXT, you did WrestleMania, you did Raw, you did SmackDown, you do the whole. Yeah, you did the whole.
I also
trip.
did the
Hall of Fame.
No, the Super Show, WrestleCon Super Show.
Okay, all right.
Actually, for both times that I went, that was my favorite show. Maybe also because it was the first that you see, because it's usually on Thursdays.
Yes.
And a smaller crowd and much more intimate with the closeness to stage and to the wrestlers. But I really, really, really loved that show, and told everybody who went to a WrestleMania that I knew, I was like, go to that WrestleCon Super Show.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good, and you got to see Charlotte. She beat Asuka, I think, in New Orleans. She beat Asuka.
That was amazing because I went and I mean everybody wanted Asuka to win, and I bought the shirt. I have it over there, with like the Charlotte's on one side and Asuka's on one side. Then you have their statistics. And I wore it, and I was like, I'm still going to wear it even if she's not going to win. And then it was quite the opposite win, and she won, and I was like the only one. She was like, yes!
Yeah, we were pretty upset at that because we were like, man, Charlotte is great, Well, no, nobody will say that. But like, you just got the streak given to her and all of the. Well, what happened afterwards? Well, I mean, they done so justice to Asuka, so it's fine. But no, you were happy. You were happy from that.
I was one of the very few people that was happy in that stadium.
Yeah, and when everybody like was like, ooh, yeah, and everybody just looked.
And I was also there in Orlando. There was the Hardys comeback. The pop was amazing.
Yes.
So we did there the whole weekend, and we had also been with our friends from Power Wrestling. So it's a German magazine that covers the wrestling, and we'd also asked them like, "What do you think?" And because the Hardys were doing so many shows and throughout the weekend, and we just thought, "There's no way." And then they did the announcement, and the New Day was acting like it was going to be them that they're putting in, and then they came out and they just erupted like the whole arena. That was
It was one of the best returns of that year. Till this year, I watched that when you say you know, it brings back like childhood for me. So it's just so cool. And yeah, I mean, they did some justice to both of them. Unfortunately, with Matt is on AEW now, and Jeb is going to be in WWE. But see, great experiences. I think that is what brings you the love to this sport, and you just want to be. I gotta be part of it. I just gotta be part of it.
I also went to Access when I was in Orlando, and I was queuing to see Charlotte, and I waited for 2 hours, and then she got swapped for Luke Harper.
And you have the picture with Brody Lee, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. She has the picture with the exalted one. We can say that she has the picture with the exalted.
I was like so close, so close.
Yeah, that's the kind of that sucks when like you're about to go there and then boom, they pull somebody else. They only have like an hour or two that like can sign the autographs and everything. I had to be there. Yep, I had the pleasure to meet a few of them, but some of them that I wanted to meet, I didn't. So I went to the same experience.
Which one were you?
I wanted to meet Rey Mysterio. Yeah, because we're probably the same height, so it was really cool to actually have, because all the pictures that I have is like all the wrestlers right here, and I'm just standing like this. You know, I can ask how's the weather up there, but no, like Rey Mysterio was very cool, but they swapped him. So and then I think I had a picture with Ricochet, which is okay. Yeah, he actually was nice. Yes, so it was good. So it's a great experience. So now, like, tell me about like what will be your dream match? We know Charlotte is like your girl. You love it. Will you see that at a WrestleMania for you? Charlotte against you.
I mean, it's a dream match. Like it's my dream.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Who else? Let's say outside of Charlotte. Anybody else that like you say, oh my gosh, like that will be my a match that I would want to have with this person.
I think Tessa's amazing. Blanchard.
Oh yeah. Tessa Blanchard, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of women that I'd like to see. I'm also I've been very impressed with Rhea Ripley because I remember I did a review on the first Mae Young Classic when she was there, and just like the transition that she's gone through has been superb to follow. So those are definitely three that
that you will love. Yeah, we love to have matches with.
Anyways, yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, so now, like for example, I want to ask you, like, as a wrestler, do you like singles matches more, or you like tag matches? Because we've had a lot of wrestlers here, and they said, like tag is a little more fun because you can do different things, but just singles is you just gotta like carry the match with the other person. So for you, during the exercises and everything, what do you have enjoyed most? Tag or just single?
Mm-hmm. I think both are quite fun. I would say probably leaning more towards single. I've been in Switzerland. I've been working as a manager so far for my coach. So because we're here, then sometimes if the referee happens to be distracted, there might be some tag team maneuvers that we've done. So that's been fun.
That's cool.
Just have to make sure to get out in time so that they don't get kicked out of the ring or the arena. And I mean, like, I love the ring and I love wrestling, so whichever match.
Yeah, whichever. Okay, and I'm gonna ask you, like, for example, like,
I haven't had my debut yet, so that's like my number one dream match will be my first match, whatever it may be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, please, we're already also like committing with you that like before you have your first match, you're gonna be with us, telling us about your excitement and how much like you're gonna enjoy this. So like you wrestle with guys and girls. So like, how is that for you? Like, is it like a little more difficult with the guys? Just being able to power lift in them, or like because of the training, has it been easy for you to do that?
So in Switzerland, I'm usually the only girl. In Germany, there's a handful, and there was also one. They have female classes on Thursdays. Wednesdays, yes, that I've been. So that has been really cool. But so overall, 99% of my training has been just with males. And sometimes, like, especially if they're younger, they're more respectful because they don't want to, like, invade my privacy. Like, it's a contact sport. Like, if you're crossing the line, I will for sure let you know. So
you'll just chop them. You'll just be like, yeah, you will do that. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's just pretty great to see that, like, you keep growing, and you just see that, like, wrestling is just also a family sport because you create those many connections. That your friends, for example, you keep in touch with the wrestlers that you met in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all of the, like, people that I train with, and I'm always like, yeah, brother, sister, and so forth, because it is really a big family, like big nerd family, as I always like to say. Yeah, and I keep in touch with whomever I've met while training. When I went to Mexico, I saw some of the friends that I already made in Germany. I made some new friends. Some of them I hope to see next time. Like this time I saw Bandito, but I couldn't meet Black Taurus. But yeah, it's important to support each other because we're all kind of in this together.
Yes, yeah, especially, let's say, for example, when you see Bandito, when you see them, in the maybe like in the WWE or AEW or even Triple Mania, or Triple A, you see him. Oh, I know this guy. Like, hey, like he made it big. That's for me is a satisfaction that everybody that we had on the show, and the same thing we hope for you. When we see you like in a NXT UK, when you just like debut, I will just be in tears because it's just people that I know that I'm supporting that finally made their dream a reality.
Yes, I'm the biggest cheerleader. Like, yeah, I'm always supporting whoever I can and sharing their stuff and tagging them, and because I want them to succeed and I want them to make their dreams.
Yes,
reach new heights, and that's like the type of friend that I am, and the type of friend that I want is the one that is gonna uplift you and help you pursue your dreams.
Exactly. So now let's talk about a little bit about you just outside of the wrestling. So what does Katrin like? What kind of music do you like? What are the hobbies that you have outside of wrestling? Things like that. Tell me a little bit about that European lifestyle.
Well, it's just me probably. No, I love to cook a lot. I have like 30 cookbooks. So whilst I do follow super strict diet now, I do actually really like to cook. So usually on Saturdays or Sundays, it's more for cooking or going outside, having a nice meal. And I like to find out new spots, like where to eat. So whenever I go on vacation, I always pick out like which restaurants I want to go to. I'm not like about which churches or which monuments. And so I want to see that's not.
For you, it's like the restaurants. It's like it's more of the restaurants.
That's what I'm about. And I used to sing in high school, so I was like in a band, and also wrote my own songs and stuff like that. So I still have my e-piano from those days, so I can play chords and accompany myself. So actually, just spent a lot of time listening to music and singing along and dancing. I like dancing a lot too. Mostly like pop music, but also Latin music, reggaeton. Is what I like. Just I'm very upbeat as a person, and that's what I like to listen to. Like, usually, like on Monday on my Instagram, I ask people what do they like to listen to boards, and I listen to reggaeton. So I finish my weight sets and I'm like dancing, and then everybody else apparently is listening to rock and metal. And I listened to it during this week, like all the songs that I was sent. And I did actually hit like personal best like every time that I went to practice. So I really get it. But it's also a lot of fun my way,
It's better, yes. It's always, that's what I try to do. At work, I like to put music, and I like to give people a little bit of everything. I start with a little bit of metal, a little bit of rock. Like you see their faces are getting upset. I'm like, okay, let's change it up, pop, and then like a little bit of reggaeton. So yeah, I agree. Like music is about diversity, and also it helps out with the mood. So I like that. So I see you're a big Maluma fan.
Maluma baby. No, I like Camilo, I like Maluma, I like Maui Ricky, Dua Lipa. From when I was little, I've always loved Christina Aguilera. She's an amazing singer. And yeah, anything that's about like power, fun, dancing. Sign me up, yeah.
Yeah, like so maybe like you can say your theme song will be kind of like Naomi, and you will do like the dance and like I'm amazed, amazed. See, that would be good if you decide to be a baby face, of course. Heel, I don't.
Kind of very intriguing, like before I could have never pictured myself as a baby face, but yeah, maybe I'm coming around to the idea. We'll have to see.
No, at some point, you'll have to like to refresh the character. I've heard that a lot of people is like I need to do both. Maybe I'm not able to pull both, but at some point you can play with both. So yeah, Katrin, it's just your story is really uplifting. I think that the whole family is gonna love this. So yeah, like tell me also, like so we were talking about restaurants, right? So like what? How about the Mexican food? Did you like that? Like
I loved it. Yes. I love meat, so actually when I get asked about my favorite food, I always say it's actually American barbecue. Like I love the brisket and pork belly burnt ends, to die for. Yes, yes. So that's my favorite food. Then I like Japanese cuisine, so sushi is a big one, and I really love salty food. So Mexican food was great for that. But my favorite dessert is ice cream. So when I get a cheat meal, it's often ice cream or pizza actually.
how often do you get the cheat meals? How often is that in the week?
Way too little. No, it's like once. Yeah.
Well, but you need to stay in shape, like be strong for the day.
It's a big sacrifice for me because I just love food a lot. And I also have my own ice cream machine, so I've made coconut ice cream this year. I made chai latte ice cream. I made sour cream ice cream. I made vanilla and chocolate, and it's still in my freezer, and I'm being very good. Hard work.
Well, there you go. Well, next if we ever visit you, you have some of that, and so we can try it, and then we'll tell everybody how was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will be great. That will be great. So now then, Katrin, we're just gonna like I think I want you to like give everybody a message. To all your friends, family that are going to be watching this, people over there in Mexico, everybody that is supporting you, the floor is yours. Tell them anything that you feel, a message for everybody.
Well, I'm wishing you a happy time in December to finish out the year. It's been challenging, but challenges that we can take on if we all work together with our loved ones and empower each other. I think that's the key thing, and follow your dreams and your happiness, because I think at the end of the day, however long or short one's life may be, there's only one, and you need to do what you're passionate about and what makes you happy.
There you go.
I really believe that.
There you go. So like also, Katrin, where can we find you in the social media world? We're gonna put the links, but like where can find you so we can everybody please follow, subscribe, hit that notifications. So you right here, you see the future of professional wrestling right here next to me. Not me. Her.
Oh, that's very sweet. Of course, I would really love if you would join me on my journey towards becoming a wrestler. So you can find me on Instagram, foodhunter.ch. And for Facebook, it's actually just my real name at this point, which is Katrin.
Yeah. Absolutely, please. We'll be plugging in all the social media family. Follow her. Stop by, tell her like everything. Wish her well, and wish her like hopefully a soon debut, because we want to see her in the ring. We want to see what she's capable of doing, and pretty much. And like my dream, at least for me, for the now, is to see her in NXT UK, because that's a show that is exclusive from Robert. We cover that every single week, so that will light up my day. On a Thursday after a long day of work, and then cover NXT UK. So, Katrin, thank you so very much. This is not over yet because we're going to actually transition to complete Spanish for our Spanish audience.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much for every single thing that you do, family. Don't forget to check us out on Road Break on Facebook, the OG Road Break on Twitter, Original Road Break on Instagram, and right here for the best podcast in the professional wrestling world and soccer, the original Road Break family. Thank you so very much, Katrin. I wish you the best. All happy holidays, happy Christmas, and that has to be a great 2021 for you. So thank you so very much, and we'll see each other pretty soon. Ada.